One. Daniel, welcome to the Babs Life podcast, man. I am so pumped to have you on, honestly. I've been waiting for this. This is exciting.
What's up, man? It's good. It's an honor to be here. I'm glad
Dude,
you're having me.
dude, the pleasure's all mine. I'm so glad you're on. We have a funny way that we met, dude. We met like I'd like to say like well not met, but we met in person, obviously, but we discovered each other on like TikTok like what, like 2, 3 years ago, maybe it was, I
Dude,
think.
I want to say it was like early 2022. I want to say like late 2021, early 2022. It was like when
Yeah.
I just started getting into content creation. We were just
And
mutuals.
yes, yes. And that's what it was like I think you popped up on my feed. We had either like done like a similar sound, you know how TikTok is, if something's trending, we all just start hopping
No,
on. And then
yeah,
like
we did it was same trend and both of our videos popped off.
yeah,
It
like
was
a
like
million plus views or something crazy like that, dude. It was nuts. And I remember messaging you because I obviously like comes up on my feed. I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, let me go check this guy's profile out. And then like I check it out more and I'm like, oh, I love his content. It's great. Dude,
Can I say
yeah.
the meeting you for the first time at FK was like I was super surprised because look, I am very, very short. And in contrast, you are super tall. We're talking like 6'6", dude's towering over me. I'm like, dog.
It's
But
it's funny too because I mean I don't it's funny because I know I'm tall, right? But like I don't think about it, like it's just like this is my view like every day. And then I don't think like I just don't think of like people's heights either. And then like I met like you, we met Daniel, and a few of your other friends, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I thought like I don't know, like the camera, I thought y'all were like way, I don't mean to be rude, but like way bigger and like
oh
in a
no,
tall
dude, you're
sense, in a tall sense. And I was like, holy shit. And you guys you guys said it to me first, and I was like, okay, it's not just me that I'm like, what's going on here? Like,
so I as someone who, not me, you obviously, but as someone who is tall, right? Do you
mhm.
automatically like kind of just have this picture in your head that everyone will almost be about the same height as you, or
I
like
I think
how
that's
does
what I
that
was
work?
I think that's what I was just trying to articulate, and I did it so horribly. But yes, like I don't think about it. I just like just exist in this plane, and then I just assume everyone everyone's like gonna be there too, dude. One of the funniest things ever was or for me at least, like yes, on this topic of like I like went to reach something up in my apartment like on like the top shelf, not not
uh,
thinking, like I do it every day. And like someone behind me was like, you could grab that? And I was like, what? And they're like, dude, that's insane. Like they just started freaking out. Like we were all like pre-gaming. They were like, bro, that's ridiculous. How the hell did you reach that? Like it was so funny. Yeah, my one of my roommates always joked about like putting like the pots and pans and like the cups that I would drink out of like on the in the bottom shelf, so like I would have to like bend down, like feel pain.
no, it's crazy because in my house, all of us are generally just like shorter. So a lot of like the top shelves that are kind of built in are actually just never used, and they're just collecting
Right.
dust. Got everything on like everything on the shorter shelves. So
Yeah,
it's funny.
my joke is I put all my pots and pans in the cabinet. I don't ever put them below the counter because I don't want to. That'd be
Crazy.
so weird, by the way, if someone did do that. Like that would be so. Could you imagine if you went to someone's house and you open a cabinet and like the pots or pans? I'm sure someone does it, but it's
Like
just not.
like where you think there is cups, it's just a
Yeah,
bunch of pots. I'd be like,
yeah.
I'm
Something's
confused.
something's up here. I need to leave. It's like I don't know
Yeah,
what.
this is not
I'm scared for
this is
my
not my
health.
space.
But going back to your TikTok and your content creation, you've really grown in such a quick manner in the past, since we met, which we were saying like 2020 or late 2021, early 2022. I
Mhm.
mean, you've been sticking with it consistently and good. So I kind of want to dive into that a bit and talk about it because I mean, we started around the same when we first like made contact, and you've just like blown me out of the water for sure. I think you're at like 40 something, almost to 50,000 followers on
Just
TikTok and
about.
like growing. And, you know, let's dive into that. Like, how did you stay consistent? Was it, did you have to like come up with a plan? Did you just kind of, you're just winging it? Like, what's your methodology? Everyone's got something different.
So I mean, going into it, it was always just like about having fun. It wasn't, I didn't really have this big picture in my head, like, oh, I'm gonna end up being like a big content creator or a big influencer kind of thing. Never thought of it that way. Um, it was just something just on my day to day that I was like, okay, cool, like this is funny. Like I was like, I'll post this. And I mean, eventually it started just catching numbers, and as it caught numbers, I was, getting more comfortable with people like seeing my stuff, and it genuinely made me happy seeing people be entertained by it. So I mean, that was kind of just how I started with that. And the consistency portion of content creation is, I would say, was like one of the like biggest parts of it. I would post like once or twice every day, 7 days a week. You know what I mean? So I want to say that played a big part of growing.
Have you been able to like keep that up though throughout the time? Because, and I'll go on a quick tangent with that. Like I've found with me, I get burnout very easily. Like for instance, this year I was like, you know what, I'm gonna kind of hit things hard again. Like I've been really chilling, and I like went really hard in working. I had two jobs plus the content. I was like, I'm just gonna hit everything hard as I can for the first like 4 months out of the year. And
Mhm.
I started in like December, so I was really like five. And then by that fifth month, I was like, I am freaking exhausted. Like when you saw me at FK, I just stopped making content. I was like, I'm not making any more for a month. I am so burnout. I'm so burnout on work, all blah, blah, blah. And that's my issue is like, I need to work on finding a happy medium of like, hey, I'm sticking to a schedule, but also the schedule is allowing me to have fun because I'll do too much for like 3 or 4 months, and then I'll
Uh,
stop for like another 3 or 4 months because I'm so like zoned out, like I'm just checked out.
no, dude. I mean, it's a really good point, because like you're right. It's very hard to stay like, you know, the same energy every single time. You know what I mean? I mean, I know like several moments a part of like 2022 to 2023 in which I would post content and I wouldn't feel like I wanted to do it. You know what I mean? It almost felt like I was mandated or kind of obligated to do so. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? But
Yeah.
the burnout at times was very, very real. Um, and at those times, you can kind of see where you can see it in your views when it drops, because if you don't feel it, the people watching you also probably won't feel it. Like, like I want to say like 90% of the time, you can definitely see where the burnout is.
I don't,
Um,
yeah, yeah, I don't disagree with that because like you have everyone who creates has like a certain passion behind it. And that's part of it with like this new emerging meat form of media and stuff is like people love the authenticity. Like that's the biggest creators, whether you like them or not, they create some type of emotion in people, and
mhm.
like they draw them in, and they like you can tell like Mr. Beast, like you just tell he's super passionate about stuff. Like that's the way I feel
Oh
about him, at
yeah,
least. Like he just loves what he's doing.
dude's
And
like number one right now.
oh yeah, yeah, on biggest in the game, biggest. We'll see if anyone can ever pass him, but right now for sure the biggest. But yeah, that like authenticity to content creation, it's there. You can just sense it. I don't know how. I don't know what that
Yeah,
is in us. But like
I
it's
don't
out there.
know, because I know there are a good amount of people that can like always have that kind of that drive, or almost like always have that energy up every single time, and experiencing a burnout. You know what I mean? I don't understand how they could keep that same energy all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's not something that everybody can do.
agreed, agreed. And again, I don't know if they have like a different way of thinking or a different way of doing things. Like maybe they are more disciplined in the fact of like I'm gonna stick to a schedule that I like and that I enjoy, and finding that balance within it that allows them to like be consistent but also have fun. Because like I said, for me the trap is like I can go hard, but then I go like so hard that I like don't have any fun. And then
I
by
feel
like 3 4 months in of like going hard, I'm just like, shoot, I need a month's break. And then usually that month is like not enough. I'm still zoned out. I'm like, maybe another month.
that.
And then it
No, I get
snowballs.
that. Yeah, no, I mean, it's like, and with that too, I mean, like a lot of our like the small creators, a lot of the people that you see, everyone has their own life outside of social media or outside of like TikTok, posting content. You know, a lot of people have like their like day jobs. You know what I mean? And that also contributes to it too, because I'll come home and I'll be burnt, I'll be tired, and like if I'm scheduled to post something, I know it's there, but I just want to lay in my bed, dude. I just want to, it's
Yep.
bad.
Dude, I get it 100%. I had this job the last like 3 years with this company, and I was doing social media for them. And I originally took the job because I was like, oh, doing social media for them, I'm gonna learn a lot. I'm gonna like it's gonna boost my creativity because I'm gonna be creative with them and yada yada. And it's gonna like help me overall. And like 8 months in, I was like, oh, this is hurting me. Like I'm one, I didn't like it, but two, on top of that, like I was putting creative effort into their content and then coming home and just feeling drained and not having anything left for me. So I don't know. I get the whole job thing for sure. It's yeah.
So on that, do you feel like, so if, for example, right, I mean, you're doing content creation on this hand, right, and then you're doing content creation on this one, right? Do you feel like if you were doing both in your day job and in your hobby, that it won't be as fun anymore, or it'll just kind of take the energy away from you wanting to do it, like, period?
I think me personally, yes, it would, yes. But I think some people that if they find let's say a 9 to 5 that they specifically like doing content for, entirely different story. Because
That
the
makes
big thing
sense.
with like corporations and corporate social media, which like we can attest to, is they just don't allow things. They're never their social medias are none of them are good. Like they might have a million followers, but like very few of them like gain that following because of like they have a good social. Like um have you seen like Scrub Daddy? You know the smiley
Yeah,
face
oh yeah, the
soaps?
ones with, yeah.
Like they have a hysterical TikTok. Like it's I could actually like Duolingo too has like a funny
Oh,
TikTok.
dude, their tweets are really, really funny. I've been seeing, yeah.
They have a great social media presence. And that's because someone in their higher ups just decided, we're going to let you guys have creative freedom, do what you want. We trust you. Obviously, don't like make the company look bad, but we trust your creative process and that you're going to get views. I didn't have that. I had of like, we want you to post XYZ and that's what we want you to post. And then, if you stray from it, we're not going to like it. If you pitch something different, we're probably not like they would take
Yeah.
pitches, but like that's where your energy gets like spent is like you spend x many hours on pitching this content that they should do, and then they come back at you and just say no, and then you do that another time and they say no, and then you do that like 8 more times and they say no, and by the 10th time, which some would say you could have been quitting earlier, but by the 10th time you're like, why would I even pitch anything to you guys? You just wanted me to
That's
do what,
true.
and that's so there's a big difference between the two. But for my purposes, yeah, it drained me too much. I didn't want to do anything
Yeah.
after that. Oh my
See, that's
goodness.
why I think it's so important to, I mean, if you it's very important to do what you love, like, for you. You know what I mean? Because at that point, if I was getting turned down at every single chance at being creative, at that point I would start like doubting myself. I'd be like, are my pitches just not good? Are my ideas just like not worthy of this company? Like, that that would truly suck.
It was definitely aggravating. Like yeah, that's to say the least. It was very aggravating. I was so happy. So funny enough, I got let go from the job, which like
What happened?
it's a, they had layoffs. They had layoffs like back in like November of 2022, and I just was one of the ones that was laid off. But
Okay,
like,
so it was just budget cuts then.
yeah, I mean, yeah. But it to be honest, it was like the most freeing thing in the world. Like, cause I already wanted to, I was so already fed up with it. And I remember like leaving and like I it was such a weird day. They like wanted me to go out to this set for a photo shoot and yada yada. And then they were like, hey, actually we need you to come back to the office. And I'm like, that's you've never asked that in 3 years. So it's like, and so I've come back, and then I come to my desk and I get a text from my friend at in a different department, and they're like, I heard they're firing people down in marketing. What's going on? And I'm like, oh, I'm getting fired today. Like that's what's happening. And I said, I don't
What happened
know.
like right after?
The dead ass, like 2 minutes later, I got the call, like, hey, can you come up to like our office? We gotta talk to you real quick. And then like they're saying like, oh, and yada yada. But anyways, the funniest thing of that day, long story short, was I'm driving home, call my best friend, and I'm like, hey man, or I text him, and so he knows I got laid off. And he calls me on the drive home, and he tells the story to me. He goes, I either knew you were, it was one of two things. You're going to be like super sad or super happy. And I kind of thought you were going to be sad. And you answered the phone. You were like, what's up, dude? How's it going? He's like, I knew you were freaking excited about that. So anyway, this is a funny story. But yeah, I mean, working jobs you don't like, of course, it's exciting to leave them. So
Yeah. I mean,
um
shoot, I hate the job that I'm at right now, and I'm like this move that I'm doing down to SoCal. I'm like, I need the job to pay bills, obviously, but I am so happy that it's like ending soon. Like I get to put my 2 weeks notice in like a week, so it's gonna be great.
oh my gosh, you're gonna love, it's gonna be like it's a weird feeling because you're like, oh no, what's gonna happen next? But also you're like, thank God I don't have to go do that anymore. Like it's
No,
like
right.
such a release of like that negative energy that's holding you back. I can't tell you. I can't wait for you to experience it. I feel like I'm telling people like quit their job right now. I'm like, quit your job.
Oh,
No, don't
yeah,
do that.
I
Don't
wanna
do
I
that.
wanna call up my best friend and be like, guess what happened? Guess what happened? I just
Yeah.
quit my
Let's
job.
quit my job.
Hey,
Let's go get drinks. Yeah.
But not too much. I don't have a job.
Yeah, very exactly. One drink. And it's gonna be a water.
Man.
No, it's yeah, it's just it's weird. And it's funny what you just said. It's a super valid point, is like you do have to pay the bills. Like that was the reason I wasn't leaving, like I had things I needed to pay for. I would have had to owe them money. Like there's so many factors as to why you might keep a job. I always tell people, because I went through it, it's like the best thing you can do is have an exit strategy. Because with that last job, I knew I didn't like it like 6 or 7 months in. Like it kind of hit me like, I
Mhm.
really don't enjoy this. And I started looking like right away. And it maybe takes you like a couple weeks or a month to process, like, oh shoot, the career path I thought I really wanted, I don't. And then having to adjust. And that's challenging in its own. But the big thing about that is once you realize it, is like trying to come up with that game plan and moving out and moving forward. Because once you
Mhm.
have that, then it's just like, that's the goal you got to hit. Oh, I got to get X, I got to apply to 5 jobs a day or whatever it is. And then I'm going to get an interview, then I'm going to get a new job and I'm out of here. Like, and, you just don't want to
Yeah.
make, that situation like worse to where then you're stuck, you know?
See, that's what I'm kind of scared of. It's like, or I mean, it's not necessarily with like a job, but it's like with like, like with the whole like content creation thing. It's like, what if one day I wake up and I'm just like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. But I've already put in like so much time into it, and it's like, fuck, what do I do now?
Well, the beauty thing about like the social media part is like you can pivot. Like you can, yes, you've created a
Right.
page around raving, but eventually you can get it to where like most of the people are watching because they think you're funny and they think your content's funny. And once you're at like a level you're comfortable at, you start trickling in some of the other things you like. You start showing them a bit more of you. You start getting people that like that part of you, that part of you. Oh, I like going hiking on the weekends. I'm gonna start showing off hikes. Now you got a hiking crew plus EDM. And then from there it just develops into your personal brand and you get to show off what you like. And that's the I feel like that's really the goal of all of us, right? We all got started kind of in that sense. Like
Oh yeah.
you got started because you're like, I love going to raves. I love EDM. I'm going to start with that stuff. And that's how I got started. And, then it develops into like, hey, I want to show you this trip I went on. I went hiking. I went to Zion, whatever, or whatever it is. I'm talking about myself too much, but whatever your other stuff is, you get to show off.
Yeah, that is true. I think I think that's probably also um where the account like or where like my social media kind of grew. It was that authenticity. It was like, I wouldn't like a lot of the videos I would post weren't of me like talking at all. It was kind of just like, just like small trends. A lot of the and then once I started bringing in like my own talking or like my own topics, that's where I think people really gravitated towards like my TikTok or like my content, you know.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think like you reach a certain level where like you kind of need to start having your own voice, because that's where I feel like I've been stuck at personally, as like I don't have my own voice yet and I'm trying to figure that out. But it all comes down to like, just starting doing that. That's my biggest thing. I don't know about you, but I struggle with just starting sometimes. I
No, no, same.
know I know I need to do something and I'm like, I'll do it eventually. And it's like, no, if you just start doing it, it'll progressively, get better over time. Just like you're saying with like you developing your voice. I'm sure it wasn't like perfect the first day. It might have been. I have no idea.
Oh yeah, no, no, not perfect at all. I mean, there were a lot of like there are a lot of times where you're going and you're like shooting something and you're just like, I hate the way I sound. Like I mean,
I
I
agree
used
so
to
much.
never like hearing my voice played back on like videos, and I'd be like, like, do I really sound like that? Is that really how I talk? And it's terrible. But you know, eventually you get more comfortable with it and it just kind of becomes ebb and flow, you
Yeah,
know.
I agree. It's same thing with like it's funny, I should have learned from myself, like with this podcast. Oh my gosh, you can go back. The first like 20, 30 episodes of this podcast are absolutely horrible. Like just trying to figure out my voice, my rhythm, what we're talking about, like that whole thing. It's like horrendous. Like,
Did you have that instance where it was like, damn, like this is gross. Like I don't like how I sound.
oh yeah, dude. I still to this day hate listening to my own recordings. Like I hate having to go in and edit a podcast because I'm like, oh, I just sound horrible. Like it's just not good.
Like I don't know how I'm gonna sound on this podcast. I don't even know like the sound quality of this microphone. Like I could probably like watch this and I go, oh, like, you know, probably the first couple minutes I'll be like, do I, is this really it? This is how I sound?
Dude, I'm
People hear this from me.
I'm the same way, dude. It's like I think it's pretty normal to hate your own voice. I think majority of people don't want to like they don't, because we can talk to ourselves in our head, but we don't want to like it could be
It's
dude,
because like
so go ahead.
because you don't so it the whole thing I think and I read it somewhere where it was like you don't actually know the sound of your voice because it's bouncing off of other things, you know. But there was like something where you like you go and you put your hands like blocking your ears and that's how you sound. Like if you like if you went and like you blocked your, yeah, try
Hello?
it.
Hello?
So you block your ears and it kind of makes
Hello?
like the difference of like you're like you
I
know.
don't like it.
I don't mean neither. Me neither.
It's like, dude, the perfect example of that too is why I think most people don't like their voices is like when you're taking a video at a concert and then you hear yourself singing over it and you're always like,
Oh, dude.
oh, dang it.
Like in the no, because in the moment, you're like, I sound so good right now. You're like, I sound just like the recording, you know? Play it back a couple of hours into the hotel, and you're like, I just completely ruined this video.
I am so embarrassing. So I used to be like super into country music before I even got an EDM.
Okay.
And I went to like country concerts growing up and yada yada. And I have videos of me like freshman year of college at like concerts and or pick videos I took, and like I can't even watch them anymore because I just hear my voice trying to sing country and it just doesn't come. And in my head, I think I sing country great. Like I get that I can pull out the southern drawl when I need it, and I'm like, and then I listen to those videos and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's horrendous. It's
So
horrendous.
you definitely tried to mimic like the southern, like I guess
Yeah,
twang. Is that
twang.
how you would
Yeah,
say it?
yeah.
Sure.
I would try to be George Strait, and it was not George Strait. But thank God I'm into the wubs and the bebop music now. I can just kind of do words and go wow,
Oh
wow,
yeah,
wow,
no, it's very easy to sing along. You know, you're just like wow, wow,
wow,
what, you
wow.
know,
Yeah, I
no
love
lyrics.
no lyrics needed anymore to hear my voice. It's the worst. So what do you like? Do you have like an end goal with your content? I know we just said that we're talking. You're like, I don't know, where what if I just stop that when I do it one day? So sorry about that. I don't know if you can hear my alarm response.
Oh no, you're all good. My thing
Um,
rang like a couple minutes ago. I was
That's
kind
right.
of worried you were hearing it
No,
too.
I didn't hear a word. Didn't hear a ring.
Oh, there it is.
But do you have like an end goal with your content, you think, or like a level that you're like, this is where I feel great at, or something you want to do with it?
So it's not, I guess, with the whole content creation thing, there is really no end goal for that. I guess it's just to see like, I don't know how far I can go with it. But a lot of it, um, I like a couple of years back, and for a while, I was actually making music. Um, so and I wasn't even it wasn't EDM at all. If anything, it was more just like pop music, you know what I mean? But um I guess the end goal isn't going to necessarily be with content creation, but it's actually going to be to help promote my music. So like again, content creation isn't it's a passion, but it's not the passion. Music is. And at that, if I can use one to kind of lean into the other, I think it would work out.
Yeah, man. 100%. I mean, you better start trickling some music now in here and there. I'm
No,
telling
that's
you.
what I'm saying. And I mean
100%, dude.
the thing with that too is like the music I used to release 2 3 years ago is not the music I want to release now, and it's kind of cool that like I started getting into the EDM scene because it has helped me find the kind of music I really want to make.
So do you think you'll be producing some EDM or some different beats now? What are your thoughts if you want to share? You want to keep it a secret, by all means. I
Um,
respect that as well.
that will definitely be the route that I am probably going to take
Ooh.
is, the wubs and dubs.
Okay. So you're gonna be making some dubstep, some bro step, or are you gonna go
Yeah.
melodic, a little melodic dub?
So probably melodic dub.
I think that's what
But that's definitely where I'm leaning towards.
that's
This
what
is
I would
this
want to
is
make. That's what I would want to
yeah.
make too.
This is
Yeah.
the unofficial announcement.
Uh,
But
no. Do you DJ or anything at all too? Do you like practice?
no.
No.
So I just produce and then I produce my own vocals as well. DJing is like on like the checklist of things that I kind of want to start doing, but I've yet to actually put in practice for it. Like I remember like I did last week I did this beach day thing down in SoCal with some of my rave fam, and one of my homies is a DJ, and I was asking him, I was like, hey, like, do you have any tips? Like, can you show me how to DJ? And he was like, yeah, dude, you can, like, he was trying to show me how to match up the tracks. And I could not get it for the life of me. I was like, this sounds like shit. What did I what did I do wrong? He was like, it's practice. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna get it in 5 minutes. You
Yeah,
know.
it's so DJing something I've been thinking about doing more and more because you talk about that like end goal, right? And that's part of me is like I started this because I wanted to do like a social media marketing business. And that was my thought was like if I like well, that's part of the reason I should say, not the whole reason. But part of me was like if I get a following with something, then I can kind of use that to like get clients that's down the road or something. But I'm only gonna post things I like and then but anyways, as it's evolved, I'm like, dang, I would love to learn a DJ just because it would help with like these interviews and stuff of that nature. But we'll see if it happens. I don't want to make any
Yeah.
announcement
Have
yet.
you have you gotten any hands on deck yet?
Yes. Yeah. I have not mentioned that too much, but yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I've like my honestly, I've thought about either way. I'll just say it. I want to like not post about it and then just like out of the blue
Oh
be like
yeah, just
but like
just show up one day and just be like, yeah, rock this shit.
right. But then now I'm thinking the more I'm like, it would be just such a nice, easy piece of content to show like I really like this and it's it's that thing of like showing off what you love. Like that.
Mhm.
So we'll see. I make no promises, but we're in the process of potentially buying some nice decks. So
I would be down to see what would your DJ name be?
so I wanted to be I want
All right.
it's just funny to say because I've never thought about saying it. I wanted to be like Babylon, like a play on Babs, But
Okay, that's
um,
kind of sick.
but then this other guy I know named Babs as well is now DJing as Babylon. So I'm like, oh, I
Oh,
can't take that.
it's nope, it's gone.
So and I messaged him and I was like, bro, what are you doing? He was like, what? I'm like, can't believe you came up with this name. We have like, how did we come up with the same thing? We
Did
just
you
think
tell
of
him about it? Or like he just went on, you guys just had the same idea.
same idea. Like literally just one day I because we communicate on DMs here and there and we'll just text like whenever we can. And like one day I saw his message pop up and it was like Babylon. And I was like, bro, what is this? Like, what is going on?
So he just got to it
He
first.
just got to it first, which respect,
Yeah.
respect. We were talking about it, we were laughing. No, I'm not mad or anything, which is it was more funny than anything to me. I was like,
No.
dang, I was just thinking about that. But I might just go with Babs, dude. Like pretty pure and simple. You know, I don't know. We'll see. Do you got a DJ name?
I do not yet. So
Me too.
I mean, the I would just release music. Like I would release music under like just my first and middle name. That was kind of just, it was super easy, super simple. I feel like when you do start like having like a DJ persona or an alias, you need to have like, like a name that's really like out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Alenium's name is Nick. You know what I
Right.
mean? But he went by Alenium, and it's like, whoa, like
I know what you
So
mean. I know. That's so funny. Hey, so we're coming up on our time limit here, and I am gonna pivot this real quick, but
all good.
the theme of the podcast is live yourself every day, as people know, and that's what we want to get down to the roots here with this podcast. So, how are you living yourself for every day? I warned you.
You ask a very loaded question. Like it's a very simple, but it's a loaded question
It
for
is, but
sure.
I warned you. I warned you
You did,
beforehand.
you did.
I said,
And you know what? The At the moment that you warned me, I told you I was going to think about it and start trying to come up with an answer. I have not given it a second thought. But you know what? It's but I no, I'm just playing. But I was, living yourself for every day. I mean, taking it was this move that I'm doing. It was, I mean, having those plans, that kind of thing. I mean, planning out. It's more of just like when I'm living myself for every day, I am taking steps and planning of what I want to do for the future. A lot of the,
Mhm.
when I was like younger, I did not really plan anything for myself. A lot of stuff was kind of pre-planned for me. It was like, oh, okay, like you're gonna go to this college, you're gonna have this job kind of deal. And it wasn't up until like again, like a year ago. So like, take the 22 years, it's super recent, but it's not until like last year where I was like, I'm gonna start doing stuff for me, you know.
Yeah,
And
man.
it's yeah. So I mean, the events that we all go to, the stuff that we do for all of our, like, with all of my friends, that is how I am living myself for every day. Just
Yeah.
kind of, I mean, just taking things, doing things on my own, um, and living my life to the fullest, of what I love to do.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's funny because like you said, the question is so simple yet it's so broad. Like there is really no
Mhm.
wrong answer. And to build off of what you said, like, yeah, doing those I can relate to that actually a lot because I felt the same way growing up. Parents, hey, do this, you're doing homework on Tuesday, you're doing baseball on Thursday, or whatever it was. It was always like, I'm gonna do what they want me to do. Hey, we want you to play a sport. I'm playing a sport now. We need you to go to practice. Hey, we're gonna go practice on a Saturday. And I'm like, I don't want to practice on a Saturday, but I would go to practice, you know what I mean? Like stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I take that to heart too, because once you get that of like, I'm gonna start doing things for me, it's like almost addicting and in a good way because like you're just doing things that make you happy. And it could be people make it seem like you have to do like grand things like I'm gonna go on a trip because I want to. Like, dude, it's just as simple as like I wanna enjoy a Powerade today. I love blue. I love, what I mean? It could be something as simple as that that makes you happy and keeps you going day in and day out.
Right.
I absolutely love that. And that's what, I think that's what everyone should strive for, to be honest. It's like just do those small things that make you happy here and there. And um you're just gonna feel better. I don't know how to explain. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
no,
it's
I
like
mean you're absolutely right. I mean, there's a lot of people that get into jobs just because someone else said so, you know?
mhm.
Like how
Like
many people or how many, adults do you know that are genuinely happy with their jobs?
yeah, very few, very
Very
few.
few,
I wasn't for
you know.
3 years.
No, they yeah,
So
it's I mean
yeah.
perfect example,
Yeah,
you know.
and again, there's always got to be a delicate balance because sometimes you got to make the sacrifice. You think about it like, okay, if I do this for 2 years, I get really far ahead of my career, and then I'll be happier. Like you
Mhm.
can sacrifice. That is something people don't take into consideration too. Is like you can sacrifice something now for happiness later. And that's a form of like happiness if you can wrap your head around like I am doing this for a purpose. And again, it comes down to like having that plan and that purpose.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I know I'm making this sacrifice to help me be happier later because it will pay off. And then you
100%.
yeah, and then you again you do small things throughout those 2 years to help you. You know, you travel a little bit here and there. You go to a
Right.
festival, you see an artist you like, you buy some merch, and you do some small things to keep you happy. Yeah, man, I'm on board with that 100%. That's a great way to live, and hopefully someone
Mm-hmm.
hears that and rides with that and starts going, "I need to do some more things that make me happy." So,
Yeah, and again, the like the end goal isn't going to be soon. It never is. And and at one point, it could be 10, 15 years from now. The one thing that keeps me going is just like picturing the end goal in my head and striving for that. You know what I mean?
beautiful.
So it yeah.
I get that 100%. I mean, I think that especially as content creators, that's kind of why we keep going because we're just kind of like, one, I enjoy it. Two, it's like there's some small end goal, whatever that might be, that's like I can attain this if I just keep it up. Just keep it up.
Mhm.
It's like like a lot of very, very successful people, went through shitty jobs and working, horrible hours for years and years and years until finally that idea paid off because they had that vision of like, I don't care how long this takes. It's gonna happen. They just kept doing it. Almost like a delusional happiness, but like they were like, it's coming. Like it's coming. But
But a lot of the times it does pay off, you know.
agreed. That
I
time
mean, how
in
many? Yeah.
I think we only got a minute left, unfortunately, but I do think the universe rewards that. You put your time in and you're serious about something, it starts to slowly give it back to you because it's almost like it wants to know how bad do you want it? Are you going to give
Mhm.
up if you reach some hardship out of the blue, or are you going to keep it up? It's like how
Yeah.
what do you got going? But Daniel, man, I had a blast doing this. I wish we had longer time. We're still unfortunately using Zoom, so we only get 40 minutes. But dude, this was a blast, man. I loved having you on. You're welcome to come on again at any time. I would love to have you on again. We got so much more to talk about. We barely touched the surface here. Tell everyone
Yeah.
where they can follow you at. And
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
well, thank you again for having me. You can follow me at all my social handles are at bassbaedaniel on TikTok, Instagram, and that is all I use. All
All right. Bye, everybody. Peace.
right. Peace.